Okay, you're very welcome back to the Rossie Podcast in association with Shannonside FM. I'm joined by Willie Hegarty to look back on Roscommon's draw in Mullingar against Westmeath. It means, though, Roscommon results did go in our favour, and we do find ourselves in a Division 2 final and promoted to Division 1. A bit of a crazy day, Willie. We didn't necessarily do our job. We got a point in Mullingar, but it was enough in the end. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, it was enough at the end. I suppose at the very end, it probably felt like a damn squib, Darragh. It felt like you got into Division 2 final and back to Division 1 almost by the back door. But, I mean, Cavan and Mead weren't able to take advantage of Roscommon's late slip-up and the draw in Mullingar. So, you know, in the last 4 games, Roscommon have only taken 3 points and they still managed to get promoted. So, look, the job is done. I think that it wasn't pretty, but it was pretty effective in the end. They played some good football, but also left Westmeath back into it. And Westmeath kicked 5 outstanding 2-pointers. And the last 2-pointer by Kieran Martin was an extraordinary score. And if Darragh McVitie's 2-point effort for Cavan had gone over, then it was Cavan that was up and Roscommon wouldn't have gone up. So it would have been an absolute disaster from Roscommon's point of view. They got there in the end, Darragh. In the other 4 promotions from Division 2 to Division 1, it was more clear-cut by Roscommon. They kind of huffed and puffed with this one, especially the last 2 or 3 games. But they got there, and, you know, neither Cork, Meath or Cavan was able to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, and might just touch, you know, right at the end. We might, you know, at least start at the end rather than the start. And that 2-point from Kieran Martin. I mean, we had confusion in the Cavan game the week before, and Davy Burke wasn't too happy that Jeremy Mercer put over a free. I think there was another play, and the Hoosier went, and that was it. The game was over. This week, Conor Cox had a shot, maybe about 15 seconds to go. It goes wide. The Westmeath keeper's obviously running to get the kicking tee. He puts it down and actually falls off the tee. And he gets it back on the tee. The Hoosier goes. Davy Burke is actually on the pitch celebrating because he thinks he's remembered from last week what happened. But the referee let it play on, and of course, 10 seconds later, I mean, Kieran Martin outside the boot over the bar, 2 points, and it's a draw. Now, I just want to read the rule that is in the amendments from the FRC, and it says, if the ball is already out of play following a score, a wide, or for a sideline kick, when the Hoosier sounds, the referee shall signal the end of playing time on the sounding of the Hoosier. Now, my interpretation of that is that the game should have been over. The ball was out of play. The Hoosier went. It didn't come back in play. The keeper hadn't taken the kick out, so it should have been the end of the game. Thankfully, now it didn't, you know, cause any controversy at the end. You know, Roscommon did still get promoted. But what was your whole take on it as well? Would you read it in that point at the end shouldn't have counted?
Yeah, something similar, Darragh. The talk afterwards was that the Westmeath goalkeeper had put the ball on the tee and it kind of blew away. It went off the tee and he put it back on again. And the referee allowed him that and then allowed him the kick out. And once Westmeath won the kick out, then they could hold the ball for as long as they wanted. So I think that's where the breakdown, technically, the kick out should not have been allowed to have been taken. But the ball went off the tee. He allowed him a second bite of the cherry, which almost could have cost Roscommon promotion. And in fairness, Jerome Henry had a very, very good game. But it came down to the small, minute detail of that he allowed him the second chance to kick the ball out, which Westmeath won it. Now, the week before, I know the referee is alleged to have told Ger Burta there will be one more play. But the Cavan goalkeeper, with the kick out, kicked the ball out over the sideline, which meant the game was over because the ball was dead. So if the Cavan goalkeeper kicked the ball out and Roscommon won it, then they would have the opportunity to keep the ball for as long as they wanted until they worked the score. But the Cavan goalkeeper was cute and he put the ball out over the sideline. But last Sunday in Mullingar, there was definitely a case where the Hoosier had gone and there was no time left for any play. And as you said, Westmeath came down and got the 2 points, which caused about 5 minutes of consternation in Mullingar after the game because people were waiting to see how Cavan, Cork and Meath and Louth finished.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason nearly they tweaked the Hoosier was another incident in Mullingar. Obviously, it was alleged that Meath scored maybe 2 seconds after the Hoosier went, and
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
grey area. And I suppose the Hoosier's nearly causing more problems than good at the moment. At least but before when it went, you knew it was over. Now we're kind of seeing, well, it's a bit like rugby, really. I mean, I seen the Mayo Donegal game as well. Ryan O'Donoghue had a free, and he just kicked it out over the sideline. I'm not 100% sure. Do I like that kind of a finish that you can just kick it over a sideline and that's it? But I mean, look, thankfully, from a Roscommon point of view, it didn't go against us. Despite, you have to hand it to Westmeath for that comeback and that great point from Kieran Martin.
Oh, absolutely. But I suppose we see it all the time in rugby when the clock goes into red. A team could keep the ball for 20 minutes
Yeah.
If they're trying to score. But then if they don't then and the opposition gets it, they can kick it straight out into the stand, Darragh. So, so I suppose in rugby, that the ball has to go dead. It doesn't matter what time it's on the clock. Once the clock goes into red. So, I think it's something the GA should look at because there's definitely something going to happen, Darragh, in a key championship game. Could you imagine if this is a key championship game, Mullingar yesterday? And Westmeath get a draw and the game goes into extra time and they win it. They want to be careful with this Hoosier because there's no two ways about it. Before the summer is out, there will be hassle.
Yeah, just bringing it back to the start, the first half, like it was a solid first half from Roscommon. They ended up with 2-10. Now I think they might be just they should have actually probably had more. Let's be honest. They probably be disappointed maybe with the last 5 or 10 minutes. I don't think they even scored in that period. Kind of let Westmeath get the last 3 or 4 scores of that half to pull them closer. But like we've seen some good play from Roscommon. I know the wind was aiding them in the first half a bit. It was kind of going across the field. I don't know if just for some reason in the second half, like just a lot of chances missed. I think that was the story of the tale. Now we can't say Westmeath didn't miss a lot of chances either. It was a bit of both. It wasn't just us that were missing the chances.
Yeah, well, I mean, Roscommon won the first half 16 points to 8. Westmeath won the second half 14 points to 6. So 6 second half points is a very, very poor return by Roscommon. Davy Buck said afterwards, a good 40-50 minutes. He's right. The last 20 wasn't good. Roscommon overcooked a couple of scores. Inda Smith was in one, said Conor Cox to his left-hand side. Simple goal chance on. Inda went for the top corner, hit the crossbar. So, small margins. Some shooting was erratic. But, when Kieran Murton was on the ball predominantly in the first half, Roscommon got some great scores. Same with Keane McHugh and Darragh Craig. But the wind was actually strong now. It was strong. And, in fairness to Westmeath, with nothing to play for really, they're 6 defeats in a row. But they're probably the most unluckiest team in the division because they lost 5 of the 7 games by a single score and drew with Roscommon. So, they had shown good form, in all their matches, bar the Monaghan game. And, people will say they were robbed again Meath. And late scores, conceded a late goal to Louth, robbed again Meath. A late point by Cork robbed them to Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And Cavan came from 12 points down to narrowly beat them. So, Westmeath had shown that they were a capable team. And now their first half performance was very poor, Darragh. Oh, it was very, very poor. But in fairness, they were only 8 down at half time. And they had 5 clear goal chances. They took 1. So it's a worry for Roscommon that, okay, Roscommon gave up a lot of chances, but also they coughed up an awful lot of chances to Westmeath. And, Dermot McCabe, the Westmeath manager, when he sees 2 of the chances they had in the second half, if an under 14 team missed them, you'd have pulled your hair out. So that's a worry for Roscommon as their next venture is into the championship.
Yeah, the interesting thing is on the Roscommon defence, maybe we all feel that we aren't probably fully at speed defensively, but if you look at the Division 2 stats, Roscommon actually statistically had the best defensive record in the league. Yeah. So it might come as a surprise to some people.
Yeah, they had actually, Darragh, it's right. They were averaging 23 points a game and they're conceding averaging around 17, 18 points. So they had actually the best defensive record in Division 2, which was alarming. But, a lot of the games, Darragh, some of the forward lines were quite poor in Division 2. I think myself, personally, Division 2 this year was substandard. I don't, at one stage it looked like Meath were really, really good. But they robbed Westmeath and then they lost the last 2 matches. Cavan, slow start, couldn't back it up against Cork yesterday. Cork at times were woeful. So I think the whole overall, I think the two best teams are probably going up just about. I think Monaghan is the best team in the division. When they play when Monaghan are really on fire, they're the best team. Roscommon have been playing maybe 35, 40, 45 minutes of football. We haven't seen 70 minutes from Roscommon yet. But I think overall, the overall package of Division 2, while there was great drama, great excitement, I mean, every single match, every single score, every single second mattered yesterday. Down got relegation on 6 points, which really, really is tough luck on Down. So I think, yes, Division 2 had great drama, but I also think Division 2 was average, Darragh.
Yeah, and it's somehow hard to see where we're at going into Championship. Obviously, we have the league final, then London. You hope you get over that, no problem. Then you're probably looking at Galway 2 weeks. So we're still, maybe 3-4 weeks away from Salthill and Galway. Hopefully, all things going well. You'd hope that we're going to be on a steady increase now. That we haven't seen our best football, because that's maybe been thrown at Roscommon sometimes. We maybe peaked in the league and not backed up in Championship. So you hope that we're still going to see, the best of Roscommon in the months to come.
Yeah, I think the worry from Roscommon's point of view going in is that I think right now if Davy Burke was to write down who his number 3 and number 6 is, I don't think he'd know. Brian Stack will fill one of those positions when he comes back in, but it'll be an awful ask of Brian Stack to come back in and maybe potentially play against Galway in a Connacht semi-final, because I don't think Brian Stack is going to make the league final or make the London match. So then Brian Stack's next game is going to be the championship against Galway. And while we all know that Brian Stack is an excellent footballer, I mean, he's been out of action now for the last 4 or 5 matches. And to come back in against a Galway team that have played in Division 1 football and played 7 games. And I'd say Porrick Joyce is an angry man tonight. Galway messed up getting to a league final. I'd say that they'd right to got to a league final. Yeah. They'll beat New York. We'll beat London. So, I don't think the Roscommon back line, I don't know how he's going to solve it, Darragh. It looks like Davy Murray is going to play. Shea Cunyan looks at home at 5. Rory Fallon, Robbie Dolan, Colm Neary. Niall Higgins will play at 4. He's played 7 league games at 4. Colm Neary just coming back into it. He's injury prone. Where is John McManus? I like the look of Sin and Lamb, but where do you play him? Because you have a lot of Sin and Lambs. You have Colm Neary, you have Rory Fallon, you have Robbie Dolan. They're all much of a muchness. But I think going into a championship, you have to know who your number 3 and number 6 is. And at this moment in time, Roscommon don't.
Yeah, and it's hard nearly if you're defensively poor, cover it up with these new rules now, because the most you can have back, I suppose, look, the goalkeeper's there, but it's 11, defensive players. It's 11 v 11, whereas before you could drop your 15, you could have a few sweepers and all that. Now it's nearly like you could still have your sweepers, but you're leaving the other fellas out the field free, and they can play it. So it's really man on man now. So there's no real place to hide for teams who are struggling defensively now.
No, there isn't. I mean, one time there you could camouflage it because you could have 12 men behind the ball and get away with it. But now you can't. A lot of space, a lot of fast forwards. So for the Roscommon defence, while they have some pace in it, I think they lack strength and depth. They lack the physicality of it. I mean, the last 2 games, Davy Murray has played fullback and centre back. Now, Davy Murray's been an outstanding servant to Roscommon football. But Davy is either a cornerback or I'm not sure he'll get away at wing back at this stage. But he's been trying to play at 3 and 6. Rory Fallon has come in at 6. So, yeah, I mean, there is gaps. And, from now on, Darragh, every team Roscommon play will be Division 1 team. Really. They'll probably play Galway in a semi-final. Mayo probably in a Connacht final if Roscommon were ever to beat Galway. So, from now on, the quality of opposition you're going to meet is going to be far superior of what you've played already.
Yeah, and the one positive you take from yesterday is our midfield definitely had a good day at the office. Keith Doyle was, in the first half as well. It felt like everything that was going long, he was just catching, and not just he's catching clean. There was no breakdowns or anything. He's catching them clean. Eddie Nolan fetched a good few balls. Shane Kanama might have got. So we definitely dominated that, and I suppose we're thinking ahead. Even Galway's on the mind. Galway, Salthill, Paul Conroy, Tierney, John Maher. Galway have some big men. We need a Roscommon midfield firing in all cylinders. Over this next month or so.
Yeah, I suppose if the end of the league has shown something that maybe Davy Burke has stumbled upon two midfielders in Eddie Nolan and Keith Doyle, and especially now with the goalkeeper, might have to go long at times, because the short kick out now is really dangerous. That Keith Doyle is a real option. And now, having said that, yesterday Ray Kennellan scored 4 2-pointers from midfield for Westmeath, and Paul Conroy something similar.
Yeah.
So that's 8 points from midfield that Ray Kennellan got. Even though Keith Doyle and Eddie Nolan played really, really well, Doyle is a good man in the air. It probably allows Inda Smith to maybe play in the half forward line, because Inda has been asked to play every place, and predominantly midfield. So if Doyle and Nolan could work in the middle of the park, there's no reason they can't, because Nolan has the really, really good athletic move to him, and Doyle is a really good man now in the middle. So for the first time, Roscommon actually have a ball winner in the middle of the park. If Conor Carr does go long, and Eddie Nolan is really good on the breaking ball. So I think Roscommon from 8 up will be fine, really good. But it's how they manage the house, how they cope with having 3-4 forwards of that position who are going to be really, really good forwards. How they're going to stop that will probably be Davy Burke's homework for the next few weeks. It won't be showing up in London, that's guaranteed. But after that, they'll want to be hatching plans, Darragh.
Yeah, up front as well, we've seen some excellent performances, some decent performances. Maybe not across 7 games, though. Our forwards on a particular, we would say one particular forward, didn't have an excellent 7 games. I think Jeremy's shown some good spots. Kieran's been good in patches, but no one's been probably consistently excellent across every game. And I suppose that's another area maybe Davy Burke doesn't know, because he keeps changing up the forward line. Probably the 4 I have in my mind that will probably start championship at the moment is Kieran and Jeremy Murta. Inda Smith, you'd hope, will move into the forwards, and probably Conor Hand at wing forward. You can't be leaving him out. So there's probably 2 spots there that are up for grabs in that forward line.
Yeah, I think Keamy Cohen will start as well. He's had some good games, and he's scoring from play as well. It was interesting. Conor Hand played wing back yesterday. Yeah. He'd been very good in the half forward line, so he's a type of player that could play any position. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, Kieran, Jermid, Inda Smith. I think Keamy Cohen will definitely start. Ben O'Carroll isn't right yet, Darragh. Ben hasn't scored in the league. Whatever it is, he just hasn't come back yet to the Ben O'Carroll that we know what he's capable of. Because he's a terrific forward. Darragh Craig kicked 3 great scores yesterday and picked up a knock. He has a habit of picking up knocks, Darragh Craig. Shane Kilorden probably still isn't up to the full speed of what is required. So, Kieran, Jermid, Inda, Keane McKeown, to me, they're 4 definite starters. Ben O'Carroll, Darragh Craig will be in the mix. What do they do with Conor Hand? Where does he play Ulton Harney? So they have options, but as you rightly say there, nobody has really been outstanding. And it has been proven too that Jeremy can be marked. Donald Keoghan from Meath did a good job on him. The Cavan corner back did a good job on him. So, it has been proven that Jeremy can be tied down. But Kieran is the one player to me that is very hard to tie down. He's very sharp. I think, he's going to have a good championship. I think we need Inda giving and go a bit more if we're playing wing forward. Inda's brilliant on the runs, but times that I don't think enough of scores comes off him. More scores could come off him with the way he runs, but he'll definitely start. Inda will definitely start. The potential is there in the forward line. Other counties are raving about our forward line, but Monaghan scored a good bit more than us in the National Football League. But there's no 2 ways about it that still when it comes to the crunch, Darragh, if you have to pull scores out of the bag, we still have a few good boys that are capable of doing that.
Definitely do. And just looking ahead to this weekend as well, confirmed for Saturday evening, not Sunday, as it would usually be before the Division 1 final, 7:15 in Croke Park against Monaghan. Again, now we bet Monaghan by 5 in the end in the Hyde. It was a good game. I think Roscommon deserved to win that. They were actually the better team in the Hyde that day. Look, it's a good game to have. It'll be interesting to see just team selection wise, because it'll be 4 weekends in a row, including the London game the week after, that we would have played. So does Davy Burke go full strength? Does he, just change it up again like he nearly has been? But look, it's a bonus game. It's a game in Croke Park, and you'll never say no to that.
Look, people. I think that there's going to be a good debate. I'll get back to your question in a second. I think there's going to be a good debate in the next fortnight, 2 weeks, about what are they going to do with league finals. They cannot have league finals a week out from championship. 4 of the 8 teams in the league finals are playing the following weekend. Can't have that. They're destroying the league finals. So look, that's going to be the way this year. But definitely going forward, either the top team wins the league, or else you have to start the leagues a week earlier and give every team a 2-week break for the championship. But for this weekend, Darragh, Monaghan are going to go full tilt for this, because Monaghan will see this as a brilliant game and a brilliant preparation game for those the championship. So I think Davy Burke has to be careful, because if Monaghan go full tilt and Roscommon go half-heart at it, well, then Monaghan are going to take them to shreds. I think it's a great game for Roscommon, because look, at no disrespect to London, and Ruislip has been a banana skin for some teams in the past, but Roscommon are not playing Mayo or Galway the following week. Now, Mayo have to go to Markievicz Park against Sligo, which is, I would be more worried going to Markievicz Park and Sligo the week after playing Monaghan than maybe going to Ruislip in London. But, all full respect to London, who have done well in Division 4. But if Roscommon, are really thinking about leaving their best team to play London, well then, they ain't going to go far in the championship. So I think it's a chance for Davy Burke to at least play 11, 12, if not 13 of what he thinks he's playing the championship, and give them a full throttle game against Monaghan, who will be going for it, because they're not going to lose the championship for a few weeks yet. So Michael Brannigan will be really going for it. This is a great game for Monaghan, and I think it's a great game for Roscommon. Get to Croke Park, put out your 12, 13 of your best team, other lads that might need a run, give them a run, have a go at it, see where you're at. Because sometimes if you go half-hearted for a league final, it happened to me a few years ago against Kerry, they never fully recover from it.
Yeah.
The last thing Roscommon need is a bad beating by Monaghan on Saturday evening, Darragh. So, they have Saturday evening, they have an extra day now. People thought it might be the Sunday, go at it hard, go for it. It's a bonus game, as you rightly said there, and a good opportunity for players, because their next big game is going to be Galway, Darragh, after that. So, this is a perfect opportunity, I think myself, to go at it.
Yeah, and finally, look, if anyone knows how to win Division 2 finals, it is Roscommon. We won that 3 we're in, and we of course the COVID year we topped us. We actually ended up winning the league that year as well. That's when it was changed here. So look, like these lads, the likes of Kieran and Jermid and Enda, Donny Smith, they all, I think, four league Division 2, a lot of them. So look, I said, when you're in it, you may as well want to add to your tally and make it 5.
Absolutely, and some of the new lads, it'd be a great bonus, some of the new lads to win in Croke Park, win a National Football League medal. Yeah, people are sitting with Roscommon 4 Division 2 titles. Why do they want another one? But to look at, you get to Croke Park, you have a chance to win a national silverware in Croke Park from Roscommon. Monaghan won't turn their nose up at it. I know the big bonus here back in Division 1 for next year, and that's going to be enough, this time next year to really look forward to. But an opportunity for the young lads as well to get their chance of silverware on Saturday evening. See how it goes. I'll be looking for a big performance, Darragh. Silverware comes. That's the next little carrot. But I think a performance from the lads, not for 35 or 40 minutes. Go at it, and some of the 2 or 3 French players, the likes of maybe Sin and Lamb, be a great experience for Conor Hand, be a good experience for Colin Neary, to come into a setup like that, and but still the older lads like Kieran Murta and them lads, you know what I mean. When you get the chance of winning in Croke Park, you go for it and you take it.